Next on the agenda is integrating the model that we developed with the UI that we built. First, I didn't mention the format currency call. Initially, when I started working on the code, I used the L10 manager to format the code, which made sense at a glance. However, currency is something we get from the restaurant itself, and it should handle the currency type. Adding the dishes code is code we already have. However, this second block of code is pretty cool. First, I bind a listener to the dish quantity, which allows me to track changes to the map of dishes to the quantities of each. That means that every time a dish is added or removed in the map of dishes, regardless of the source of the change, we can get an event and recalculate the amount in the order. Updating the amount is literally as trivial as looping over the dishes and adding up the amounts when then setting it to the label. Notice that we call revalidate at the bottom, since the label might have a longer string as a result, and we might need to enlarge the space allocated for it. We have very similar code in the checkout form. It updates the total value based on the dish map. In this case, we don't need listeners since the checkout form only provides one way to edit the data. The dish container hasn't changed much, so I snipped out most of the code. However, the animation portion of the removal now needs to update the price after the animation completed. Notice we call update price only after the animation, so the repaint of the price won't interfere with the running animation. The contact us form is practically the same as before, and the only major difference is that the formerly hard-coded data is now entirely from the restaurant class. The main menu form has three interesting pieces of code I'd like to focus on. First, the code to create the categories list is no longer hard-coded. The second part is the content container, which loops over the dishes in the main menu and places them into the UI. Unlike the previous code, this now uses the restaurant model to show the data. The final part is the code which adds a dish. Order is the button you see here. It adds the item to the order total. Notice that we just put the dish into the order and update the quantity. Nothing else. The event handling code updates the subtotal of the order seamlessly. I don't always use the top to bottom approach of development, but I like it more. When I take that approach, I can quickly bring non-coders into the circle of discussion, as the UI aspect is instantly communicatable, and everything else becomes far easier. There are always exceptions to the rule. For instance, sometimes we build apps for companies that have extensive backends and no front ends. In those cases, it's sometimes easier to just build the mapping to the backend and then build a user interface around that. In both cases, I'm firmly in the camp of running quickly through the design. You can't debug a design. Unless you are building a mission-critical app, your time might be better spent coding than overthinking a design. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this educational. Please join the discussion in the comment section and let me know what you think.